Yeah.
Jarvis, introduce yourself, my brother.
Hey, how you going? I'm Jarvis Atkinson. I'm a proud Yorta man from Shepparton, Cumragunja, a.k.a. Chainbreaker.
A.K.A.
So-
Chainbreaker.
So Chris is my nephew. Grew up with his mother. They were his mother and her sister.
It's a kind of family.
Sisters,
Yeah,
100%.
beautiful. Chris, you introduce yourself, my brother?
My name's Christopher Boland. I'm a proud Yorta Darjarung boy, born and raised in Shepparton. So
Beautiful. So you guys are from...
Shepparton and then Bendigo Mob.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here, guys.
No, yeah, sure.
It's a pleasure to have you set it up for me, Jarvis, and to have Christopher here.
Yeah.
You know, I want to kind
My
of...
brother.
Yeah, it's been an honour. You know, I've been going back and forth with Chris talking about life and stuff like that. Take me back in time, my man. Take me about, you know, when you all started for young Chris.
I just want to talk about how it was, you know, growing up in the system, like, you know, growing up in childcare and, you know, just not really having much, you know what I mean? So just playing the cards I was dealt, and then the hand I was dealt was pretty hard, you know, and you know, being taken out of care at 3 years old, you know, from my mum and dad, and was lucky to like get in my nan and pop's care. So, and then
It's crazy that sometimes when we get out of the care of the family, the grandparents take us.
Yeah,
100%.
it's an honour, you know, and you know, we just was lucky that me and my little brother was taken in by my nan and pop, and my two older siblings, my brother and my sister, were taken in by my other nan, and you know, it was a bit hard, you know, not have them there all the time, and we'd only have like 2-hour visits every second weekend, you know, with our, you know, siblings, and sort of played a big toll on us, you know what I mean, and it sort of not broke us apart, but you know, sort of grew us closer, and it was hard. So
It's tough, especially at a young age. You know, I think we get filled with anger and so much questions.
Yeah, 100%. The question's why, you know what I mean? Growing up, just, you know, mum and dad on the drugs and, you know, fighting all the time, and never really, you know what I mean? We never really had much, and, you know, it was good to have the older sister there, you know what I mean? She played a big role as a mother for us boys, and yeah, she just took the rope, and, you know, she never really had a childhood, you know, because she was robbed of it, you know what I mean? Due to my mum and dad being on drugs.
Bloody hell. It's crazy, like the people that can step up, whether it's an older brother, whether it's a sister.
Yeah.
You know, it plays a massive role.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just forever grateful for sis, you know. She was the one that was cooking us food and that, you know, when mum and dad was out trying to, you know, hustle for, you know, the next fix, and, you know, was out partying and that, you know. My dad loves a bottle, and, you know, my mum loves the hard stuff, you know what I mean? And sadly, my mum passed away last year, so...
It's a soul, my man.
Yeah.
How much did that affect you, bro?
Nah, it took a big toll on me, you know what I mean? Just growing up, we sort of grew apart, you know, because like I wasn't a big fan of the drugs and stuff like that. I hated it, you know what I mean? And I just didn't want to come to acceptance to accept my mum for the drugs and stuff like that, you know. In the last couple of years, finally come to acceptance to accept her who she was, and, you know, the drugs with her, you know, just accept her for who she is.
Yeah, once the addiction kicks in,
Yeah.
Jarvis, we know what it does. It just eats you.
Yeah, it eats you alive, you know what I mean? It's the worst part, you know, watching the drugs destroy someone the closest to you, you know, that you love and stuff like that. So it's hard.
100%. 100%. What do you miss about her?
No, I just, you know, miss the good times, you know what I mean? The good times and the bad times, you know what I mean? As I say, you know, she can kill a person with riddles, and nah, she'll forever be missed, you know?
They had it tough.
Yeah, no, I just had it tough, you know what I mean? Just, you know, growing up, you know, mum and dad was always fighting, and, you know, mum was always, you know, with a new bloke and that, so it was hard, you know what I mean? Just having new blokes coming in and out of lives and stuff like that. And my mum was, you know, pretty standover. Like, my mum was always laying into the boys, you know, that she was being over, you know what I mean? So it was hard, you know, having different blokes in and out of our lives. And
how much did that affect you, bro?
Nah, it played a big toll, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know who we was, you know what I mean? And, like, you know, all of us kids, you know what I mean, we just stuck together as one, and, you know, we always thought, you know, there's going to be better days, so, and there is now, so I'm very grateful, you know. My sister now has a little daughter, you know, my brother has a missus, I'd have a missus, and my brother is in active addiction at the moment, you know. It's pretty sad, you know. He's been in active addiction for the last 5+ years, so it's hard, you know. We're just trying to get him on the right ropes and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you know, it's just, he lives in that traumatic scenes, you know, from what happened to us when we were kids, you know what I mean? So
it carries on.
Yeah, it carries on, you know, it plays a big toll, and, that trauma doesn't allow you to be who you are. You know what I mean? Like, that's why they turn to the drugs. You know what I mean? To become someone they're not.
Kind of put a band-aid.
100%.
Like putting a band-aid over a machete cut. You know what I mean? It'll never heal.
That's a good one. It's very true. And it's never ending. And it's like, it's a cycle. It's a constant cycle. You got to sleep, you wake up, you do drugs.
You're always looking for that next fix. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard, you know, growing up and that. Like, we're in my nan and pop's care for 10 years.
It's a long time.
We're in nan and pop's care for 10 years, and then DHS come back and had to rehome us after 10 years just over some policies that they didn't follow through that years before. So my nan and pop had us for 10 years, and then DHS wanted to rehome us, you know what I mean? And I was lucky enough to have a missus. You know, I went to her house when I was 13. My little brother was 12, and my older brother was 14 by then, and he was already kicked out of home, you know what I mean? Like, my nan and pop couldn't really put up with him, you know, because he was just hard-headed, you know, he didn't listen.
Very tough.
And then, you know, my little brother was living at my auntie's, and my older brother was living at my sister's by then, and then my brother just went to the streets. And from then, 14, 15, he's 21 now. He's just been out there hustling, you know what I mean? Like, just trying to feed his addiction, you know what I mean? And it's not good, you know, it's heartbreaking to watch, you know what I mean? As I said, the drugs, you know, kill someone you love. So
they clamp onto you.
Yeah.
Clamps onto you like a freaking clamp, and it paralyzes you, man.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just everyone around you, you know what I mean? Like, you know, especially in that scene, you know, everybody don't want to look at you different. They want to look at you the same as they look at themselves, you know what I mean? So, like, they don't want you to win in a way, you know? So it's heartbreaking, you know what I mean? Because even the closest ones to you will be the ones that be giving it to you.
Yeah. Your circle is very important.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know, if you don't have a good positive circle,
you're not going to get nowhere. You're not going to have success in life.
At all. Where did it start getting really dark for you in time?
No, just like, you know, after being taken away, you know what I mean? Like, we went to my nan and pops and that, and it was just being separated from siblings, you know what I mean? It started getting real hard, started playing a toll on us, and you know what I mean? And my nan and pop, you know, they were going through their own problems at the time, you know what I mean? Arguing and fighting and stuff like that, you know? And, you know, we were just little boys, you know, lost in a man's world, you know what I mean? So, like, my pop, he used to love the bottle. He used to, you know, get on the bottle a bit, and, you know what I mean? His traumas would come back and it make him flip out and spaz out and that, you know, and we'd run and hide, you know, because we were scared little boys, you know what I mean? Just from the traumas that were happening, listening to our mum and dad fight all the time, you know, and just from there on, you know, it just started getting real dark, and, you know, watching, you know, us fade away, and, you know, and like, I was taking my two older siblings to run away from my other nan's house to come over just to be with us, you know what I mean? To be back as a group as we were, you know, when we were young, and just having that 2-hour, you know, visit with them every second week, and that broke us, you know what I mean? Because every time they wanted to go, they had to go home, they would cry and kick to stay with us for a little bit longer, you know what I mean? And yeah, just from then, like,
that fills you with anger.
Yeah, like, it was hurt, you know. But it sort of, as I grew older, it sort of motivated me to be a better man, you know what I mean? To walk away from that situation, you know what I mean? Because, you know, the cards that I was dealt, I could have went either way, you know what I mean? Like, you look at my brother and you look at me, we're totally different people. So, yeah, just, you know, my mum spiraled out of control and that, you know, to the drugs, and, you know, like, just, she was lost. She had no hope, you know what I mean? And same as my father. My father moved away and made a new family, had a couple of different kids, you know, up in Wollongong. And yeah, like, we're just, as I said, you know, we're just young kids lost in, you know, adulthood, man, and everything was normalized to us, you know, the drugs, drinking, all that stuff.
Violence.
Violence. We seen that as a little kid, you know what I mean? So that was all normalized to us, you know what I mean? Like, and that sort of robbed us of our childhood, you know, growing up, you know, I started smoking cigarettes when I was 10 years old.
Very young.
You know what I mean? Young. Like, that was us, you know what I mean? Like, just, we had too much energy, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, that just played a big toll on us all, you know, and like, especially being the biggest thing is, you know, we're filled with empty promises. We had our pockets pissed in when we were young, you know, our parents promised us nothing, like everything, but gave us nothing. You know what I mean? That plays a big part on us. You know what I mean? So it was hard, you know what I mean, over the years as we grew older, you know what I mean? When mum and dad said they'll be there, you know what I mean? As much as we wanted them to be there and we wished for them to be there, they were never there, you know, as we're growing up, you know what I mean? And then dad moved away for 8 years, I think it was, and then come back, and then, yeah, he sort of was back into the family again, and then took off for a couple of more years and went back to Swan Hill. And mum was still trying to find herself at the time, you know what I mean? And that was the hardest thing, is like when my brother went homeless and that, my brother ended up moving in with my mum, and that my mum was in active addiction and so was my brother. So they both started using
dangerous
together.
combination.
They both started using together, and they reflect off each other. You know what I mean? And that was hurting me, you know what I mean? Like, I hardly went around to my mum's house because I didn't want to think like that, and I didn't want to see it like that. You know what I mean? Go around there and watch my older brother and my mum be off their heads.
Bloody hell.
You know what I mean? And that played a big toll on me, and that's why I didn't want to come to acceptance for that. I didn't want to accept that, and I still don't want to accept that, but I had to walk through that fire, you know, because that made me who I am, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you only get one mum.
Yep.
And you got to love her for who she is and what she's got.
No, I agree. And parents play a valuable role, you know, in where we go in life.
Yeah, exactly right.
When we don't have the best environment at home, we go out and seek it.
That's one of the hardest things to see and to watch is, you know, the children suffer, but end up using with the parents. And, you know, there's a lot of it going on back in our community.
Yeah, at the moment,
the parents are drinking with their children, and, you know,
that's the worst thing, you know what I mean? Like, just growing up in a small town, not having anything, you know what I mean? So, like, as they say, you know what I mean? Most of the jails, 90% of the jails, incarcerated with, you know what I mean? Black fellas, our people.
I recently seen that the stats were ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in NT.
Yeah.
Northern Territory, sorry. It was through the roof.
Yeah, no, that's what I said, you know, growing up, like, we never really had much, but we're grateful for what we did have. You know what I mean? I wouldn't change it for the world. It just made me who I am.
It shaped you who you are today.
Just the struggles, everything. Like, you know what I mean? The pain, the suffer that we had to go through as little kids. You know what I mean? Just young boys, just lost. You know what I mean? Wishing for hope. But we always seen there was light at the end of the tunnel. That was the one thing that kept us sane, you know what I mean? So
how crazy is that you get so much people judging who we are.
Yeah.
You know? Whether you look at someone and say, oh, he looks like a criminal, he looks like a violent person.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know nothing about me.
Exactly right, you know what I mean? Like, you can't walk in their shoes because you don't know their story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was a big thing. That played a big role on me growing up because I wasn't the best kid in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? Like, I was the little kid, you know what I mean? No one wanted their kids hanging around me because I was a smoker. I was smoking at 12 years old, you know, smoking in primary school to high school, you know what I mean? And, like, that was me, you know what I mean? They try to paint a picture of someone that we was not them, you know what I mean? Like, and that was the hardest thing, like, just me and my brothers, you know what I mean? Like, it was us against the world, you know what I mean? Until we sort of, you know what I mean? Cousins and brothers, and then now we've got a few brothers now that we've grown up through since little kids. You know, we share the same similar struggle, and we use it for motivation. We use it for fuel for our fire.
That's what stands out for me. You know, I see the love you and your brothers hold together, and I remember you as little fellas, you know, getting around Marupana, on the bikes, and they were just always
100%
stuck, you know.
Yeah, and that was the thing, you know what I mean? Like, we were the little kids, you know what I mean? Stealing and smoking and stuff like that, you know? And it was them fellas that, you know what I mean, that were writing statuses, hating on us, you know what I mean? Talking bad about...
How strange is that, bro?
About, you know what I mean? My nan and pop's parenting, my mum and dad's parenting and stuff like that. But we were just, you know what I mean? Like, back then, you know, we were just trying to have fun. You know what I mean? Like, we were just doing things that was normalised to us through our childhood. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, some of, you know, our parents... And like, you know, Uncle Jarvis's generation and that, they never really had a role model to look up to. Yeah. So what do they know that's better? You know what I mean? So what's normalised to them became normalised to us. And that's what played a big role in us, you know what I mean? And that just like sort of gave me fuel, you know what I mean? As I was growing up, like me and my brother, you know, we had both different mindsets. My brother wanted to be someone that I didn't want to be, you know what I mean? I remember sitting down with him at 13. And I turned around and asked him, you know, because he was always angry. I said, why are you angry at the world? He was always angry. And I said, brother, you got to be happy to get places. You got to be happy to get success. And then, yeah, like, it just from there, it just sort of just started going downhill from there, you know what I mean? Like, watching my brother turn into someone, you know what I mean, dark, you know, and, like, him struggle, it hurts me, you know what I mean? Him struggling through addiction and stuff like that, and him with my mum and that, you know what I mean? Like, I remember the stories that my brother told me, you know what I mean? He was going out at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get a fix for my mum because my mum You know what I mean? My mum was sick and, needed a hit and that, you know what I mean? So, like, that shit breaks me inside, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, I tried to be there, but you can only be there for someone so much, you know what I mean? Before it starts taking a toll on yourself, and yeah, just
It
like
affects the
family,
person.
yeah,
It
it
affects
does.
the person. How's your
does.
brother now? Where is he now in
My
life?
brother's in Shep at the moment, like, he's doing a bit of couch surfing at the moment and stuff like that, and he's a bit all over the joint and that, but, like, he's been reaching out. He wants to help. Like, he wants help. He wants to become the man, that he's meant to be. You know what I mean? Not who he's not meant to be. Like, them drugs, I don't know what's in them nowadays, man, but it's just making them do shit that you wouldn't do as a normal person.
So dangerous.
Yeah,
So dangerous, man. Once it hooks onto you, it's a road that never ends.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
Unless you kind of stop and ask for help and say, I need help to get off this shit.
yeah, that's the good saying. You're not going to be the same person you did walking into that storm as you're coming out. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what you got to do. You got to go to war with yourself and find peace. At the end of the day.
Where does boxing come into your life now?
No, just growing up, I was a very aggro kid. I was very angry. I was angry at the world because just from traumas and just everything I went through, I was just angry. I just never was really happy until I got hit to about probably 14, maybe 15. I was still doing, stupid shit in the streets and stuff like that. And then I met my partner and I sort of started changing my life around it then. But it just kept ticking over. And probably I think I was 16, 17. I walked into a boxing gym. Uncle Michael Burke took me in there. And then from that day, I never walked out, just me and my coach clicked. Like, he saw so much in him that reminded me of him. So,
boxing is interesting. Once you enter that place, it's like you kind of enter a zone.
Yeah, enter the zone, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's only you and the person in the mirror.
Yeah.
So, like, just from then on, and I just started training. Like, I was hurt, I was suffering. Like, I was just, not from in the ring and outside the ring, you know what I mean? I was just hurt. I just wanted stuff to get better. I wanted everything, just the pain to go away.
Questions as well?
Pardon?
Questions as well? Like,
yeah, but the questions will never go away, you know what I mean? Like, you'd always ask yourself, and like, just why, why was it you? Why did you have to extend the struggle? But, like, as the saying goes, you know what I mean? God's chose you because you're the one that could handle it. You know what I mean? So
that's true. That's true. Seeing Jarvis grow up, seeing Chris grow up, Jarvis, how was it?
Oh, it was
To the man he is today.
Oh, I always knew there was something in them, the three of them and their sister, seeing them get around, I knew that they shared a similar upbringing as myself, different, but, the environments we were brought up in were really, there wasn't much going for us, and to see Chris break through that, I tell him all the time, like, the cards he was dealt as a kid, and to see him with the drive he's got today, the attitude.
It's a very different attitude.
100%.
Very respectful.
yeah, no, that's what I mean. As I said, I went to walk myself and found peace. Walking in the boxing gym and that, it sort of helped me grow into a man I am today. And, like, just all the surroundings, the community getting behind me, you know what I mean? Like, just them little messages, telling me that I'm proud and stuff like that. Especially my culture played a big part of it. I do a lot of cultural dancing.
What does culture mean to you?
Culture means everything. Culture's everything for me. You know what I mean? That there is my healing. Going back to country, that heals me.
It's incredible. I want to touch base on a little bit. What do you feel like as a youngster, the community and the youth are missing?
Just, like, to get back to connected who they are, you know what I mean? Because, some kids now, you know what I mean? As I said, they had the same similar story going through childcare and that, and you're taking off their parents and that. They never know who they really are until they find who they are. So, like, you know what I mean?
And that could be a journey.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Having to, like, taking that next step through that next door. Because some people, they don't want to take it because they're scared of what's on the other side of the door. You know what I mean? Just, you have to walk through the door. You know what I mean? Like, having youth groups and stuff like that. There's no youth groups in that anymore. There was one when we were growing up, but it just went out the window. Not having the funding there, the government not helping fund the young fellas, like, being disciplined, you know what I mean? Like, bringing that discipline back to them, like, I remember growing up, I got hidings, you know what I mean? I used to get flogged by my aunties, you know, my nan, we used to get belted, you know what I mean? Nowadays, you can't even slap your kid on the back of the head,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, like, just youth groups, the youth's missing, they just need to be heard, they need to be seen, you know what I mean? They need their voice to be spoken.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree. And you know, I've been working on, you know, getting a lot of youngsters on because I think it's very important to hear because all these youngsters, these children just want to be heard.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly
said,
right.
they just want to be heard about their life and people just understand it.
But people to love them for who they are.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, these young fellas and that, they do stuff just out of anger. They do stuff out of anger that sometimes cost them their freedom. Sometimes they get locked up and stuff like that just from the trauma and the anger that they suffered as kids. You know what I mean? And some of them, they just, they're looked upon. Then you know what I mean? They're not, hey, brother, you know what I mean? How's your day been? You know what I mean? They're not even asking that, you know what I mean? You walk past someone in the street and they're walking straight past it, you know what I mean? They're not even giving you
Yeah.
a hello, you know what I
That
mean?
social aspect of it.
Yeah, so like, just for these kids to be heard, that's the main thing, is to be heard and reconnected back with who they are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Their bloodline, their culture.
It is getting harder for culture though. Do you
It
feel
is.
like it's getting more difficult, Jarvis?
100%, especially with the climate we're in today. You know, a lot of racism is really peaking. You know it yourselves. You see it in the news.
How strange is racism?
Yeah, we just
It's
need
very
to,
strange.
you know, come as a group, you know, come as
Yeah.
one, you know what I mean? Like, that's the main thing, you know what I mean? Like, just stand for each other's rights, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stand together.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you just get some people that want division,
Mm,
but division makes you weaker.
Exactly right.
100%.
I mean, and that, like, you know, back in the early 2000s and 90s, that's all it was, you know what I mean? It was black and white racial wars.
And
For nothing.
people say, you know, you need to stick together to be stronger.
Exactly
If we
right.
did that as a humanity, as a whole people,
You'd
how
be
much
unbreakable.
the world would be stronger, you know? World would be a better place.
Agree, but it will never work because everyone has these opinions and everyone wants to force the opinions upon you
Yeah.
Mm,
instead of accepting them.
Everyone's got an opinion these days.
You know, it's
exactly right.
it's a strange world.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I say, you know, just the upbringing that I had, you know, it's made me who I am. And
Yeah.
I'm very grateful, you know, for everyone around me that, you know what I mean, put clothes on my back, you know, when I needed, and put food on the table for when I needed it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, just drugs is the number one thing, you know what I mean? Just steer clear of the drugs, you know, because once it has you, you can be hooked for life.
What's that saying we say,
Don't go hanging around the barbers.
or you'll get a haircut.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Stay away from the barbers or you'll get a haircut.
No, exactly right. You know what I mean? And like, just over the last couple of years and that, like, I sort of spiraled out of control, sort of faded a bit, you know, after I lost mum last year. And then we lost our matriarch of our family. And then I lost my mum's sister a couple of months ago. And just like, you know, it just played a big part of me, you know what I mean?
How was
Like,
that experience?
Like, just losing my mum, it was hard, you know, because me and my mum sort of connected back together only over the last couple of years.
Oh,
Yeah,
so as you started to connect,
yeah, it was ripped away from me. You know what I mean? And it sort of turned me into a shit spot where I went mad at the world for a little bit. And then at the end of the day, you can't be mad at the world forever because, you know, the man above has taken, you know, your loved one, you know, and it was hard, you know what I mean, growing up, you know, having mum there and then not there and then there and not there, same as dad, you know what I mean? Like, just, that was the biggest thing, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, as you know what I mean, you always want to go to bed and your mum being there. You know what I mean? Like, I remember
100%.
going to bed a couple of mornings and that, like, with mum there, and then wake up, my mum's gone. You know what I mean?
Now
Like,
you're searching for her and
and I'm
asking.
about searching around, looking around the house for her. You know what I mean? And that, like, that there still taunts me a bit, you know what I mean? Like, I just wish, you know what I mean, that the cards that I was dealt was a bit easier, but the card that I was dealt, I played, and I wouldn't change it for the world now, you know what I mean? Like, especially with my aunties, they all played a big role in it, you know, being there for us, all us kids, and same with my nan and pop, that's forever grateful for them as well. And, you know, it was hard, even though they were going for their own struggles, and like, all the family around us, all my mates' mums and dads and uncles and aunties, like, they all helped us out, you know, we all rode the journey together, you know what I mean? And just, yeah, like, Yeah,
Family's important.
yeah, it is. It plays a big part. You know what I mean? You just got to have the right people around you. You know, growing up, like, and if you meet a brother, that share the same struggle. You know what I mean? Like, just walk together. Walk together.
When you're growing up through life, and you started to get really angry at life. What kind of anger was it? Was it rage? Was it hatred?
It was just hurt.
Yeah.
It was hurt. It was suffer. It was pain and suffer over the years. You know what I mean? Just like, yeah, just the drugs ripped away my family. You know what I mean? That's what hurt the most for us all.
How do you look at drugs?
It's an evil person. Like my littlest brother was taken away from his mum by my nan and pop at 18 months old. You know what I mean? Because of the drugs, because of the alcohol. Due to my mum and dad having domestic violence, having disputes and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? You ask my brother some stories. My youngest brother Addison, you ask him some stories and he doesn't remember. You know what I mean? Like, and me, you know what I mean? Me and my older brother, we can vaguely remember that stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what like hurt us. You know what I mean? Like, I remember, like when my mum passed away. You know what I mean? It took a lot for my brother to cry. You know what I mean? Like,
Really?
Yeah, like my brother was the one that carried my mum out when my mum was half dead. The ambulance didn't even do it. My brother was in there, And the worst thing about it, you know what I mean, is that I was in Sydney. I didn't see my mum before my mum passed away. And that eats me up every day, you know what I mean? I didn't get around to see her, My mum got sick on my 20th birthday. It was my 20th birthday. My mum got sick. Yeah. On my 19th birthday, my mum got sick. And yeah, like I was in Melbourne and I remember having a phone call one morning, like before I was meant to fight. I had the one fight. You had one fight, and then I was having the second fight. Yeah, I was having the second fight. I had 2 fights. It was 3 fights in the 3 days or whatever it was. And yeah, I get a call one morning and saying, Mum can't move. She's in here. She's more or less dead. She hasn't moved for nearly 3 days. Like she's just been in bed. You know what I mean? And my mum, she was, because my mum, like I went over and see my mum. My little cousin was sick, and then I didn't know my mum was in hospital at the time. And they said, "Oh, your mum's in." I was like, "What?" And my mum was fighting the influenza A, and I went in there and I'm like, she wanted to discharge herself, and a couple of days later, like before I flew to Sydney, she discharged herself and went home, and then just couldn't get out of bed, couldn't move. You know what I mean? And having that phone call, saying my mum's nearly dead and that, like it took my head out the game. Like I still had to fight, like I was fighting, just not knowing if my mum's gonna make it. You know what I mean? And I'm hours away from my hometown. You know what I mean? And that breaks my heart. You know what I mean? Because I didn't see my mum before my mum passed away. Like I was lucky enough to my mum. What was it? 10 days? She was in the juice coma or something like that. After 10 days, my mum come out, like woke up. Uncle Jarvis come in and done some prayers. Like I remember all the family were meeting in the room. We had a meeting and that saying like, because all the medicine that they were giving her, it wasn't doing anything to her. Like it had no effect to her, because my mum used to be an ex-heroin addict and then an ice addict. You know what I mean? Like
deadly combination.
Yeah, so like my mum, the drugs weren't doing, like the stuff that they were giving her, that wasn't doing anything to her.
But did she still have an addiction at this point?
She was heavily addicted on the ice, like, but she was sort of trying to come off the back end of it. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, and then I seen my mum, like my mum woke up to it, but like just the way that I see my mum, the state that I see my mum in, like it still has backflash, like it still taunts me, you know what I mean? Because it just breaks my heart, like went into the hospital today, visit one of the uncles, and it just walking into that hospital, like it breaks me, you know what I mean? Because I haven't really been in the hospital since my mum passed away, and I was lucky enough, after I think it was 10 days, my mum coming back, she only woke up for what, it was 2 days, I think, and she woke up and was falling back to sleep and stuff like that, and yeah, we're all in the room, all the family was over there. We got called on I think it was the 4th of April last year. We got a call like late at night saying you got to come over here, mum's not going to make it, and
how was that experience right there, man, that moment?
Like, yeah, I got goosebumps now, you know what I mean? Like, it hurts me, you know what I mean? Like, and we all flew over there, me and all the family, and we all went over there and that, and then my mum ended up making it to the next day, and, we all went in there and had a meeting and that, and, like, they all wanted to turn off their life support. My mum was on life support. My mum was like, we're like, no. We're like, if anything, my mum's a fighter. Mum's always been a fighter, you know what I mean? Like, if this was us, she would let us fight for our life. You know what I mean? We're not just going to turn it off on her and just turn blind eye on her. You know what I mean?
It's a strange experience with death.
Yeah.
Very strange. When you're in that moment and experiencing someone die, very, very strange experience.
And that's what I mean. It was grateful, you know. Uncle Jarvis had to come in and he'd done a prayer and that, like, this was before my mum woke up. And after he'd done the prayer, my mum come back to life. Yeah, for them 2 days, yeah. And, like, mum come back for the 2 days and then we're all in the room. I went to the toilet and then I just heard my auntie screaming. I ran out of the toilet, ran back into the room and my mum was there, you know. My mum took her last breath and, you know, I didn't want to let go. Same as all of us, you know, me and all my brothers and all the family that we're just in the room like for hours. I just didn't want to walk away. I didn't want to leave her.
It was like God, you know, let her come back.
Yeah.
One last
time, you know, for me to say my goodbyes and the family to say their goodbyes and, you know, it just plays a big toll and.
Deadly conversation.
Yeah.
When you're experiencing last moments of someone.
Yeah.
Deadly conversation, man.
No, exactly right. Like, you know, I mean, we were lost, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, we didn't know how to deal with it. You know, it was hurting us all, you know what I mean? Like, it just, we didn't want to leave. That's one thing, you know, and, yeah.
What's some words you'd like to tell her?
Nah, just, you know, just one more day with her, you know what I mean? Just, you know, I always tell her that I love her and I miss her heaps, you know what I mean? And, yeah, just one more day, you know what I mean? One more family hug with me and my siblings.
Even a second.
Yeah, even a second, just one
Can't
more,
get it.
you know, one more, you know what I mean? One more family hug with, you know what I mean? My 3 brothers and, you know, my sister. So, my 2 brothers and my sister. So, just.
How's that experience, Jarvis, for you there in that moment there?
Oh, it was tough for me, you know, watching the nephews and the niece there, you know, lose their mum and my sister, you know, and it was really hard just seeing them go through it. But, you know, I think God has a way of doing things and the timing's everything. And, you know,
I think it was her time to go, you know what I mean? Like, just all the pain and suffer, you know what I mean? All the stuff that she went through in her childhood, you know, she went through the same sort of stuff. She was taken from my nan, you know what I mean? And my mum and my auntie and my uncle, they all were in the homes. They were living, you know, they were in the homes and that. Like, they went through the same similar stuff, and it was hard, you know what I mean? Because, like, my mum, like, she was going through some stuff that happened to her in the family homes, you know, and same as my uncle and auntie, I'm pretty sure. So, like, yeah, that played a big toll.
I remember seeing her, you know, probably a couple months before, and she was on the scooter.
Yeah, like my mum, like I remember one day, you know, me and my partner, we picked up. My mum and my brother, they just punch on. That you know what I mean, because they reflected off each other. Like, they'd always argue. That, you know what I mean. It come to points, and my mum's like hitting up my brother a couple of times. You know what I mean, tapping him on the chin, and like I remember one day, and like my mum picked her up one day, and I think it's a couple of weeks before. My mum was happy. She found herself. She was trying to get clean off the ice and stuff like that. And like she goes, she's been back into her garden. She goes, I haven't had this feeling since I was on the because she was 8 years clean before she passed away from the heroin. She goes, I haven't had this feeling since I was on the heroin, son. Like, you guys, I'm happy. I'm back on my garden. I'm feeling good and stuff like that. But it was just the ice. You know what I mean? It was the ice that trapped him. You know what I mean? Like, when my mum just discharged herself, and I was saying before, she went home and she had a couple, had a couple of hits, and the hits weren't doing anything to her. Like, it was put my mum to sleep. You know what I mean? And like that.
Oh, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, and like it was hurtful. You know what I mean? Like, for us all, my brothers and that, and that's what breaks me. You know what I mean? Like, me and my brother, we share the same similar story, but my brother went through it a little bit more than what I did. You know what I mean? Like, being homeless, on the drugs, you know what I mean? He's seen a lot more stuff than what I did, you know, especially with my mum and that. Like, as I said, you know, out 3 o'clock in the morning, riding around, trying to get her, you know what I mean?
Can you imagine what he's gone through in his mind?
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? And that was the worst part. Like, just him, you know, he was out there trying to hustle for my mum, you know, whether it was food, whether it was drugs, whether it was just an energy drink, you know what I mean? And
he'd be sharing another level of, like, you know, that life, that struggle
that hurt.
with
And
his
then,
mum. And
and that was that hurt, you know what I mean? Like, after my mum passed away, my brother was living in my mum's house because that's all we had connected to her. That was our only last living memory of her, you know what I mean? And then they come around and they put an eviction notice on, started trying to evict my brother to kick him out on the streets. You know what I mean? And they evicted my brother, and that my brother wouldn't get out of the house. He had to stand off with him for 6 hours. He had to stand off with him for 6 hours. It's all in the newspaper and that because he just didn't want to leave. Like, that's how much he
you're still mourning
he
it.
was mourning. Like, he just wanted to be there with mum. You know what I mean? Like, he felt her spirit was in that house. You know what
That's
I mean?
crazy, man.
And it was hard, you know what I mean? Watching my brother go through that, you know what I mean? And that's why I think now he struggles more now than what he did back then. You know
Because
what I
he's
mean?
lost.
He's lost, obviously, you know, our mum, you know, the house, you know, the only last thing that he had with her. You know what I mean? Just lost everything, you know what I mean? He just, you know, went on a path of destruction, just thought he had no hope. You know what I mean? He's still got hope, but he just doesn't care anymore, you know what I mean? Like, he lost his reasons why, you know, and that breaks my heart for him, you know what I mean? That he has to go through this, you know, because growing up, we walked different ways, you know what I mean? Like, and he always messaged me all the time, you know, because we call each other 5'8", you know what I mean? He misses me, he misses my five, you know, he misses my 5'8", and that, like, you know, we've shed a few tears over the years, you know, together, saying like, you know, I miss your brothers, like, can you come back to yourself, bro? You know, I hate seeing you like this. I mean, I hate seeing you on the drugs and off your
Difficult,
head.
bro. It's difficult, especially your brother.
Yeah.
It's difficult. So when you
Yeah.
see your family members just
deteriorate.
it's a heartbreak.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Like, and especially I feel for my little brother as well. You know, he's the youngest. He's watched it all. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it was me and my older brother were 5'8". It was just everywhere he went, I went. You know, and my little brother, he was just a follower. He just wanted to, you know, he wanted to hang out with the older brothers. You know what I mean? So like, everything we done together growing up. You know what I mean? And like, we go, you know, we get in a fight, he's jumping in. You know what I mean? That's just how it was. It was just brother. You know what I mean? And until the drugs, you know what I mean, more or less ripped him away from me. So it's hard, you know, just watching the drugs do what they do, you know. And
How are you these days, Christopher?
I'm good, you know. I struggle from like mental health and bits of trauma here and there, and you know, lost a couple of brothers to suicide, and lost a couple. I lost my mate to, you know, in a car accident and stuff like that, and like just struggle, you know what I mean, watching. Like, even all of us brothers, you know, there was a crew of us brothers, you know, growing up. A couple of us brothers are trying to fight each other now because due to the ice, it's made them lose their morals and respect.
Crazy how infested our communities are with ice, bro.
Yeah, it's
never
made them
knew
lose
about it.
respect for each other.
Yeah.
I mean, for each other's homes. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's done, you know, and that makes me, and hurts me, but at the end of the day, it builds fire. It builds fire inside. Inside me, to bring us all back together.
That's what I see with you, Unc. You know, like you're walking through the valley, but you're still so like determined and
exactly right. And
know,
that was the thing, you know. What last year before, like me, like going through a lot of stuff that I was going through, you know. Me and my partner split up at the time, and that, like, you know what I mean? I was going around trying to help everyone else, trying to pick up their broken pieces when I was broken inside, and I haven't picked up my pieces, you know what I mean, from my traumatic past. You know what I mean? And nowadays, you know what I mean? I only talk to who talks to me, and I only reach out who reaches out to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you can't help everyone. You know,
It's hard. You gotta, before you start helping others, you gotta help yourself.
Yeah. Sometimes a big heart will get you killed. You know what I mean? That's the
Deadly.
big thing. Like, it's deadly, you know, because it gets used against you. You know what I mean? Your kindness is taken for weakness.
100%. Jarvis, how do we resolve this issue with some of these youngsters and this drug?
I think there needs to be like a domino effect, and it's starting to really happen. You know, a lot of young fellas are starting to look up to people, and they're starting to take on them same steps. Like Chris was telling me earlier today that a young fella reached out to him and texted him and said, "You don't know how much you really inspire me."
Yeah. One of the boys, he shout out to him. He met his brother died a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago. His brother got ambushed in a stabbing. Like, he's only young. His brother's only 18. Like, was chased home from a party and that. Like, he reached out, messaged me and said, you know, like, doesn't, like, he doesn't like just how much it means to him, just me doing what I'm doing, you know what I mean? Like just how staunch I am in the blackfella community, like just being a role model for him, you know what I mean? Being a role model for the young ones, showing them the right to wrong, you know what I mean? Like just showing them there is hope, that there is more light to their lives. Like
So much power, in seeing someone stand up in their culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Seeing
right.
someone with the odds stacked against them.
Exactly
And
right.
seeing them still move forward.
100%, without a doubt. It's we need more role models.
Yeah, exactly
That's what it
right. We
is.
need more role models. We need more people to be who be who they are. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of them that like their trauma doesn't let them. Like just they want to speak out, but they can't. You know what I mean? They can't bring themselves to doing it. You know what I mean? Like just having social yarns. I mean, like having someone to talk to is the biggest thing. Like with me, you know what I mean? Like in the community, you know what I mean? There's a lot of brothers that are older than me and there's a lot of brothers that are younger than me. But when there's something going on, they come to me for advice. They like, I haven't been through the same stuff they've been through, but I've walked a similar path that they've walked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I give them advice. I sit down, I talk to them through whatever they're going through, you know what I mean? I'll be that shoulder for them to lay on, you know what I mean? And
what's advice from you to the community, to the youngsters as well, especially the youngsters?
It's just, you know what I mean? Like stay around the right people. Like keep looking forwards. Don't matter what's behind you. Just keep stepping forwards. Like, you know what I mean? Like doesn't matter what it is. Like, you know, in the blackfella community, most of us are naturally gifted. You know what I mean? Go chase your goals. You know what I mean? Go achieve them goals. I mean, most of us are skilled footy players, whatever it is. I mean, most of us, we're raised up fighting. You know what I mean? Go put it into something that's good, something that's useful, something that you can make something of yourself. You know what I mean? Become a world champion. You know what I mean? Like
some of the goats.
Yeah, like
Joe Frazier and Ali and some of these
exactly,
incredible
exactly
people.
right. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, become who you're destined to become.
Yeah, a lot of talent, and they're wasted talent. Wasted talent.
That's the thing. It's like, the bottle grabs them or the drugs grab them and that, like, you know what I mean? You can sit around and have a yarn with all the older unkies and that, like, they could have made AFL. They could have become a world champion, but they just let the outsiders get inside their head.
And comfort's a big one as well.
Yeah,
they're very comfortable where they are, drinking or doing drugs and partying.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? You can't get too comfortable. You got to be comfortable being uncomfy.
Yeah, it's true. What about you, Jarvis? What's a message from you to the youngsters?
I think my message to the youngsters is, step out, seek opportunities. And when an opportunity arises for you,
just jump on it.
Like you, brother, creating this opportunity. You're creating a platform for people to see, people like myself and Chris and other powerful people, 100%. And that encourages more people, and then the domino effect happens in. It's the only way we're going to start empowering each other when we
100%.
create that domino effect.
Is just step out the comfort zone and just walk forwards.
And just remember, like, who you're doing it for, why you're doing it, and I always speak about that fuel,
Yeah, it's that fuel, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's same as my youngest brother, my youngest cousin, he's a sibling of one, he just lost his mum a couple of months ago, and, like, that's why I always take him in, you know what I mean? He's an only sibling, so I call him my little brother, you know what I mean? That's why I always tell him, like, he looks up to my brother, you know what I mean? Like, he looks up to my brother, he follows in my brother's footsteps, you know what I mean? Because he thinks what my brother's doing is, you know what I mean? Like, it's tough, Yeah. But it's not, my brother sits there and cries to him and that and says, like, this is the life you don't want to live. Like, you don't want to live.
Yeah, no. The life of crime and drugs and alcohol is a rubbish lifestyle.
Exactly right. Get you nowhere but in the ground or in jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, just, that's what I tell him all the time, and just follow the right leaders, follow the right role model. I mean, most of these kids nowadays, they're just like sheep. They just follow the wrong people. They put themselves in the wrong crowd.
100%.
And this wrong crowd that they're putting themselves around, they just, as a youth and that, they like, they got them running in houses and doing all this and that because they don't care, these young fellas. They just want to make a name for themselves. I mean, go out and do something good and make a name for yourself. You know what I mean? Go out and put yourself
Be constructive.
Yeah, in some sports. You know what I mean? Like I won the gold medal in 18 months.
Wow.
Yeah, like just I didn't know. You know what I mean? I knew that I had it from young, but I walked in that gym and I just never looked back. Walked in there, had a few fights. Was 8-0. You know what I mean? And then met a South Sudan boy from Dovton. He beat me. I beat him once. He beat me. We had fought 3 times now. He's beat me twice and I beat him once. But yeah, anyways,
That's what it's
just,
about.
Like just become who you're destined to become. You know what I mean? Like boxing, as I said, boxing's played a big part of me. Like it's disciplined me. It's made me who I am. I mean, especially with the coach as well. He's played a father figure role for me. You know what I mean? He's been there for me outside the ring and inside the ring. He's been a mentor for me to go to when I need help and for me to speak to.
What do you feel like in the Aboriginal community is missing? What investments do we need in there in order to grow?
It's just funds, man, for like mentors, because the mentors can't do it without having the gear. Like, you know what I mean? Like taking them out fishing. Taking them out fishing, taking them out. You know what I mean? Like doing Aboriginal artifacts. You know what I mean? Catching native, like, you know what I mean? Foods and, you know, making possum skins and coolamans and didgeridoos and, you know, boomerangs and stuff like that. Like just the funds, man. Like having a place that we can go to when we have nowhere to call home.
Yeah, even community sports.
Yeah, community sports, like just
100%.
Get a group together. You know what I mean? Get a group together. Like I was showing Uncle Jarvis a thing there before. Like when it's time to party, there's everyone there. But when you want to go do something productive and do some work, there's no one there.
Beautifully said. Very
no
true.
one there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the community just needs to be funded the right way. It just needs to be.
I think too, like our community are really going through it at the moment as well. Like, you know, like I said before, racism is really heavy at the moment, and a lot of our people are trying to heal. You know, and in this climate right now, on social media, all platforms, you know, our people are really being looked down upon.
Yeah,
as well.
Very strange.
Yeah, when we're trying to elevate, but we're still trying to like society's still trying to kick us down. You know, there are pockets where things are getting better, but I guess we just need that room to breathe and that room to heal, and you know,
just to be heard.
100%.
Just to be heard. That's the main thing, you know. Like
so
forever great. Like, you know, grateful for what you're doing. You know, as Uncle Jarvis said before, creating this platform for young fellas to get their voice out there, to be heard and, you know, spoken to. You know,
very, very important. It's very dear to me because even you'll be surprised, even an 18-year-old kid will have some sort of information that the world doesn't know about, and he can teach us.
Exactly right. They've all got a story. You know what I mean? Like, especially in the community now. You know what I mean? We all have a sad story, but too many people use it for an excuse. Like I have a sad story, but I use it for motivation. That makes the fire burn inside me. That just keeps me going. I mean, because I don't want to be walking in that same path that my uncles did. You know what I mean? Like my brothers, you know what I mean? Brother boys and that, they walk down, you know, that path of destruction. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. I mean, because at the end of the day, our people didn't walk this land for nothing. Our people walked this land for us to just keep walking for the youth and keep showing them the right way. Connect them back to culture, connect them back to land. Just getting back to who we are, to act to our grassroots.
What does it look like for you, You know, locking in. What does that look like for you? Locking in, you know, and to strive for your goal.
Just like some people can do it with people around, but for myself, I thought I sort of got to step back, and sort of just zone in. You know what I mean? Take myself back to that dark place. You know what I mean? Like, same as with boxing, the weight cuts and that. Like, you know yourself, like the fight in the ring ain't as hard as the fight that you're fighting with the scales. You know what I mean?
Man.
Like,
and training,
like that's the thing. Like, it's, I want to take myself back to that dark place. You know what I mean? And just bounce from there. Just go from there.
Unlock that beast.
You know,
it's people think that you should be weak. Instead, you should be a monster, but then learn how to control it.
Exactly right. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of fellas ask me, like, how do you control it inside the ring and that? That's just hours and hours and hours of training. You know what I mean? Like, you just get in there and be smart.
Motivation dies, discipline remains.
Yeah, just box. Get in there and have some fun. You know what I mean? Like, he's a enemies, you know, before the fight, after he's the best mates. You know what I mean? Like, just get in there and just have some fun. You know what I mean? Like, as all the youth and that, like nowadays, they got walking around stabbing each other and that, like, why? You
What's the
know,
use of that?
what's the use of that? Like, you know what I mean? It's just making families miss out on, I mean, memories.
You
Very
know,
true.
how important it was for you as well, Unc. You know, it came back to me, and Auntie Tamara, you know, she was going through it. She was on
Yeah,
dialysis. She was showing up,
Yeah, like
supporting you the whole way. And
Arnie was on dialysis for years, you know, doing the blood transfusions and that. Like, she's my number one supporter, you know what I mean? She was there for every fight. There's a couple of fights that she didn't make too when I was in Sydney and over in Fiji and that, but she was there for every fight. She turned up, doesn't matter how sick she was. She was missing days for dialysis that would cost her, you know what I mean? A couple of her days to be there.
Powerful.
To like, you know, to show her love, to show her support for me, you know what I mean? And like, just having that person there, you know, especially after my mum died, she played a mother role as well for all of us kids. Like, just having her there to support, to be there for us, you know what I mean? Like, that there was everything for us, you know what I mean? And like, watching her hurt and suffer, you know what I mean? I still remember that day, and I'm laying in bed, 7 o'clock in the morning. My little brother calls me, you know what I mean, to get out of bed, saying, Auntie, it shocked me that much. It bounced me from sleeping out of the bed. I didn't even have clothes on. I just chucked clothes on and ran down there. And that I walked in and she was cold, you know, and that still scars me. You know what I mean? Like, just yeah,
Do you fear death?
a little bit, a little bit.
What do you want to be remembered?
Just to be remembered as a role model, to be remembered as that happy, bubbly person that I am. You know what I mean? As they say, I walk in the rooms to light them up. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You, Jarvis?
do I fear death?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to ask me that question. Look, I think about it, and I think what I fear is the time.
How long you got left?
Yeah, like I try not to think about it, but I feel like, can I do what I really want to do before I leave this world? And can I have an impact on people as much as I want to?
You're having a big impact on the world, my friend.
Yeah,
You're
like,
having a big impact, Jarvis. Let me tell
Thank you, my brother.
what you're doing in life right now is incredible
Thank
and
you,
powerful because you've lived it, you understand, and now you're trying to help others have a voice.
100%.
yeah, exactly right. You know, if we didn't have Uncle Jarvis, you know, I think, yeah, we wouldn't have gotten where we are today. And like, you know, to have him, you know, back in the community and that. I remember seeing Uncle Jarvis in his darkest days. You know what I mean?
Thanks, son.
Down the south end and that. You know, like,
Thank you, my brother.
It's powerful.
having him back in the community. You know what I mean? To be that role model and that, like, to show us the right ways of life. Like, it's very honourable and it's very like, you know what I mean? Like, just always, you know, like, a pleasure having Uncle Jarvis there, having someone there to yarn to, you know what I mean? Like, I remember times ringing him up, just asking him a few questions about a few things and that, like, just having that person there to talk to. Like, I'd rather go to someone that's been through addiction and made it out the other side than go to a facility, Headspace or something, because they don't know, they don't know nothing. At the end of the day, at 5:30, they're turning their phone off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I can call Uncle Jarvis at any time of the night and he's going to
100%.
answer.
What a man, yeah?
Yeah, he's going to answer, you know.
What a
I
man
mean?
you
Like,
are, bro. You're an angel in this world, I'll tell you.
And like, one thing about Uncle Jarvis said before, like, seeing this quote that says, "We are all visitors to this time. You know, we're all visitors. We just gotta come here. You know, live, laugh, and love, and you know, set for our youth, and then go back to the dream time. Like, this is only just our visiting time. You know, everything that we're doing now is for the next generation. You know what I mean? This is all for the kids that just come through, you know, and walk the steps. You know, because it goes from generation to generation. The elders made the blueprint for us. We've just got to keep it alive. You know, keep the fire burning.
Very true. The youth is everything. It's so important to me.
Yeah,
I have such a deep passion for the youth because I feel like they're very misunderstood.
Yep.
yeah.
You know, they just need some sort of navigating because they're the future.
Yeah, they're everything. You know what I mean? Like, and like, their traumas doesn't allow them to be who they are. That doesn't allow them. It puts them back into a shell. You know what I mean? So they just think drugs, you know what I mean, makes them feel invincible. You know, the drugs make them feel, you know what I mean, like their pain, it just makes them like, makes it go away more or less.
It kills me seeing, like, you know, on social media, you know, parents like that unalive their children or abuse their children, and you know, that's been popping up a lot. And you know, people speaking negative life into their children. And there's this quote, it says, speak life into your children because you become their inner voice.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah.
You know, and I think we have control as adults, uncles, aunties, parents, mothers and fathers
Yeah.
to speak life into our children.
100%.
You know, because
Yeah.
that there carries on. That there carries on. Like the way that you're spoken through as a child, you know, it carries on through, you know, all through your life. And, you know, sometimes it carries on to, for you to speak to your children like that. You know what I mean? Like, I know, I mean, I'm going to give my child the best life ever. You know what I mean? When I do have, you know, beautiful boy or beautiful girl, whatever I have, you know, in the future, you know, like, I'm going to give them the life they don't ever had. You know what I mean? Like, as I said, you know, I was robbed of my childhood and that, like, never really had nothing. Like, you know, same as all my siblings, you know, like, and same as all the brother boys out there nowadays, they were robbed of their childhood just from traumatic scenes,
Yeah.
traumas.
Definitely. A message from you to the world, Chris.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how dark the storm is, just keep your head up, chest out, and just keep walking through, because there's going to be better days that are going to come.
Yeah, powerful.
Jarvis. A word from me to the world.
Yeah.
You know, I'll share my quote. You know, I love sharing this quote. So the only time you should be looking down on somebody is when you're helping them up. You know, be that leader, be that role model that you would expect to have. And again, speak life into your children, into your parents, into your family, into your loved ones, into your neighbors, because you become their inner voice, you know, and be that change.
Yeah.
It starts with the man in the mirror. That's it.
With the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's very true. The man in the mirror is a big one. When you get up in the morning and look in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly right, you know, and that plays a big part in you. Just shoe against shoe at the end of the day. Just, I mean, you got to beat yourself at your own game. So
Shadow boxing.
yeah, exactly.
Looking in the mirror and you see yourself, and sometimes yourself is your biggest enemy.
Exactly right.
Your
Yeah,
bad habits.
that's it.
You know, when your habits are in the dark.
100%. That's it there. Like, you know, what are you doing when no one's watching?
Yeah.
You know?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to hide away, covering them, covering the bads and the problems. But sometimes you need to grab them out.
Yeah.
Face them.
and face
on
them.
the table.
Put
Yeah.
them all on the table, you know, and talk to someone about it. You know what I mean? Talk, like, as I said, you know, some people, they share the same similar story. You know, they walk a similar path. Talk to a person, you know, because you never know how bad their day's going or how good they're going. You know what I mean? And that means the world to someone. Just for 5 minutes of your days, just to reach out to a brother and see if they're doing okay.
100%. 100%. If you want to give a shout out to anyone, Chris, you're welcome to.
I just shout out to the community. Shout out to my boxing gym, GB Boxing, all my brother boys that helped me through my dark times, my partner, everyone. Just all, you know what I mean, all my mates, all my family, all my friends, everyone.
Salute to them and much love to them. And
Yeah.
Jarvis.
Yeah, same sort of thing. Shout out to my children, Malachi, Jarkeisha, Laura, Tanali, Rakira. Yeah, shout out to all my nephew and nieces, Caleb, Mason, Marley, Aria, Ave, Jane, Riley. Shout out to my mom, shout out to my nan, to my siblings as well. But shout out to them ones out there that are going through it right now. Shout out to them children that are bearing the brunt of their parents going through addiction. Shout out to the mothers and the fathers that are bearing the brunt of their children going through whatever they're going through. You know, we tend to forget. And shout out to my children's mothers as well. You know, shout out to Sarah. She said to me a little while back, you know, it's so good hearing people with lived experience turn it around, but you know, the ones that get forgetting about it, them children,
Yeah.
The mothers, the fathers, the siblings that have to sit there and watch their loved ones go through addiction.
What was that quote that you said the other day when TJ Official come down to Shep Daniel in the park there? Know that one? That was powerful on the TikTok there. That one.
Yeah. Oh, what? Oh,
Wow.
I've got a few powerful ones.
Yeah.
He's always got them loaded. This guy.
Shout out to
Something
my
old.
nan and pop as well for taking us in as little boys.
Shout out to
and
them.
raising us.
Shout out to Uncle Paul Briggs, the Rumballara Football Netball Club. Shout out to the Yorta Mob,
Yes.
Invincible Spirits, Bangarang, and all the clans
Yes.
out there.
Much love.
And
And I appreciate you both coming down and having this chat. And
Shout out to Ahmad.
oh
too,
man,
brother, thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
so
it's an absolute honor and pleasure to have you on, to hear your voice, to hear your story, Chris, and hopefully inspires some young people out there, and for the listeners out there.
Get that out there. Just
Yeah.
I mean, just at the end of the day, talk to a brother. I mean, like sit there and face your fears. Face your fears. You know what I mean? Face that man in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't matter how bad the story is, you just sit there and talk.
Yes.
I mean, like, sit there and yarn about your inner thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to go and harm yourself because you think there's no way out. Just, you know what I mean? Like, took me a lot. I was nervous, you know what I mean, to jump on the podcast today. But at the end of the day, my community deserves to hear my story.
Yeah.
My brothers and sisters and family, they deserve to hear my story. You know what I mean? My struggle, then my rise to where I am today. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Shout out to the Almighty
Yes.
God.
100%. Without God, nothing is possible.
That's it.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you both on and to hear your story, Chris, and Jarvis for setting it up. I think it's incredible. I think we need more children, more youngsters coming on and sharing their story,
exactly right.
and growing together and evolving as a team.
And can I just say, if there's anyone out there that feels like they want to share their story, feel free to reach out to Ahmad or myself as well, and we can make things like this happen.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
even just group talkings, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah.
this year,
Communities
I
and
think this year we'll get a few more people in there. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like seeing a young brother like myself jump on here, you know what I mean? Like if I can do it, you can do it as well. So reach out
100%.
to Uncle Jav or the brother here, and let's make it happen, eh?
100%. 100%. Really appreciate you both coming down. It was an absolute pleasure and an honor. And I pray to God that this year is full of fragrance and fruits and happiness and tranquility and forever.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Until life comes to an end. But it's an absolute pleasure and an honor to have you both on. I really, really appreciate you, Mr. Jarvis, always setting it up, my brother.
Thank you, my
Chris. Thank you so much for being
Wish you
on.
nothing but blessings, you and your family, brother.
Thank you, sir. And if you want to give a shout out to your Instagram, if you wanted to,
Christopher Boland, I think it is.
there you go. And Jarvis.
AKA Chain Breaker.
Can't miss that one, my brother. Absolute pleasure.